just at a pressure cooker with JP and the team from Nature 2.0. As the Buffalo.Network, we were basically talking about how to build a circular economy, and our main focus was basically how we can get rid of planned obsolescence. Or more simply, we think the whole idea of ownership as an idea is obsolete. And so what we kind of came across and what we started evaluating as like a good example for this is think of Spotify, right? I mean, before, back in the day, everyone would collect their own music collections. You'd buy CDs from the store, and then you would hold on to that and say that's your music collection. Today, if we were to do that, that seems a little ridiculous. You go online to Spotify and you have everything you need at moment's notice. And so that got us thinking, is it possible to actually do that today with resources? So that basically you can use whatever you want whenever you need it at the moment that you do. So our biggest example for the real world items where this might apply to, think of something like a hammer. Everyone has one in their home, but then you use it maybe once or twice a year. So there's all these hammers being stored in people's houses. So like, let's say 1 million people have 1 million hammers that use one time a year. That's all that metal, wood, supply chain to get it to all these houses just sitting around collecting dust not being used. So why can't we do it a little better? What if we had 1,000 hammers that were shared between these houses? So you would click a button and it would be dropped off at your door when you need it, and then it would be dropped back off at the location when you don't need it anymore. In doing so, we can use less resources to accommodate the same level of wealth or standard of living that we all enjoy. And then everyone part of this commons will have functional wealth because they have what they need when they need it. Originally, we were thinking of just the idea of a circular economy, but JP actually added the extra pressure of being like, so what happens to the resources after the item is no longer used? Let's say this hammer gets used so many times, and so then we began thinking of the item as well as the resources inside of it. So what if you could take the wood and the hammer and actually then put it into some kind of deconstruction autonomous machine that can then reconfigure it into something else? So basically thinking of items not just as the item it's constructed in, but the resources that make it up. And so, for example, an old phone that you might have actually has very rare resources inside of it, like cobalt. And cobalt is only farmed from the Congo, where 70% of the world's supply comes from, and that's needed for every single electronic device. And yet we throw away our old phones as if it's no big deal, even though there's so much valuable metals and all those things that can never be replaced. So then JP really helped us kind of think of that model of after it's gone to the circular economy, how do we also use the resources to configure it into other items? And so that's kind of how we basically close the loop so that you have maximum efficiency sharing it when it's needed, and then when it's not needed, you can take it apart and build it into something else and then put it back into the system. And so that really helped give us our idea a little bit more of a future-proofing, and we were really excited about that. We had a rough idea of how to go about this, but it was still a little cloudy. And now we feel really like on point sharp, so that we're really excited to actually go about this. Yeah. So now we're basically going to be building out the actual functions of this app: track, commonize, distribute. And right now we have the tracking done, so we're basically storing these items in a blockchain database basically with BigchainDB. And now we're going to be building out the actual aspect of how do people communicate and share things like saying, I need this, you need this, and then we can create the functions for distribution, like mail it to this address, or maybe in the future we can have some autonomous drones or what have you. So yeah, so right now the layer 2 function of commonizing and distribute, we're trying to lock that down. I think the pressure cooker was really good for growing our idea because overall this hackathon is very unique in the fact that it actually pushes you to go for ideas like social good, collaboration, treating the world as a huge commons. I've never seen that in any other blockchain or other hackathon at all. And so to think in this new paradigm shift requires a lot of pressure. And so it is really nice to have people who are really trying to on it and really push you to go above and beyond. And so that has been really inspiring because it really pushes you to take that step you may not be totally comfortable with. But at the end of the day, you come up with something that's totally unique and exciting.